Hey everybody, this is Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I have a journal that is going into the shop right now. This is a really fun, scrappy sort of journal. I just really love it. It is similar to the art journals that we're finishing up in the Journal With Me series as far as size. It's a good size to art journal in or just to write in. It has some embellishments, but I left a lot of room for the owner to do their thing. It's tied with this piece of, this was actually the hem part of a vintage tablecloth, and I had to use this. It's got this little tag. I guess that's an original. I don't know if it's like a quality assurance tag, if it shows the person who did it. It's got a little stamp on it. It looks like it says P99 or something like that, and I just sewed a couple of pieces together to wrap around the journal, and you could definitely use something different if you wanted to. This is a soft cover one signature journal, and it has got layers of fabric on the outside. There's a pocket on the outside, and the binding is done on the inside. I've just got those strings or the hemp cord hanging out to the outside. There are some flowers, some just bits and pieces from my stash of lace and things like that. This little dog is so sweet. Jay sent me this and some Happy Mail, and I thought that was just a perfect little addition for the cover of this Scrappy journal. In fact, it could be called Scrappy. This little dog or puppy could be called Scrappy. These charms are Scrappy as well. We get a lot of broken jewelry and things like that at work, so I purchase things from time to time. This looks like a little ring. I think it's a metal that I'm probably allergic to. I'm allergic to nickel, but it makes such a pretty charm. I really like that a lot. And then this little piece of metal with the blue little stone on it, that came from the broken jewelry as well. So this stuff is just, it's so much fun to have things like that as charms. Again, there's a pocket on the front, and I will show you once we get inside. This is not a really huge pocket. It would be perfect for a very narrow tag or even a pen or a pencil, something like that. And of course, be aware that anytime you put a pen or a pencil into something that's fabric, you run the risk of ink spots. And I have done that plenty of times with Sharpies in my work aprons at work. This has got pages from a digital kit that I've just released it on my website. I wanted to say I'm still working on it, but I think I'm going to keep adding sections to this kit. This has, so far it has 5 spreads that are completed. They're meant to be printed on 8.5 by 11 paper and then folded in half. And I also created 4 backs to go with this. So there are 4 different backs that you can print separately or you can print it as the backs of these spreads. The kit also has each individual collage that was used to make the 10 or the 5 spreads. So there would be 10 individual collage that you can size down and print as cards or just, you know, whatever. But this is a cluster of wildflowers. So this journal has a lot of flower petals, and they're just sewn in with this black thread. I love the strings. I love this sort of messy, primitive look. And that got into the pocket, which was completely intentional. It's still a pocket, but it's great for smaller, more narrow items. And I did do a little bit of embellishing in this journal. I've used scraps of lace. You can see there's graph paper. I printed some mushrooms here on this page. Here's the first charm, which is actually a little mushroom charm, and I love this. I just took a head pin and made a charm with a couple of black glass beads. And there's more just little scrappy pieces from my collection. There's a vintage doily on some really pretty handmade paper. And there is some dyed tea, that's tea stained and then dyed when it was wet. And that's a page from the kit, as well as this. And just some pretty scrapbook paper and white paper for you to do art or draw or write. This is nice heavy cardstock, so it should hold up to different things. And there's more of that really pretty handmade paper. I love that strawberry color. So here's another page from the kit. It has a lot of really old garden images. This goes back to the late 1800s. Just old ads and more beautiful pages. That's part of the kit. And here is a little Scrappy pocket. This is from a spread that was done with a candle wicking. And that's a really pretty old craft. My great aunt taught me to do that. Here's another little charm. It's a kitty cat. I thought that would be perfect to go with the little dog on the front. And more fabric scraps. More scrapbook paper. This just has, oh, I love this scrapbook paper. That's so pretty. But there's just a lot of space for you to work. There's a typewriter. You can see from the side and the keys in the background. This was one of the pretty sheets of paper that was offered in one of the magazines from Stampington, probably Somerset Studio or something like that. That's a page from the kit. I love this center spread. Again, this is a very old vintage image. This is from the late 1800s to early 1900s. I do think this one came from a book that was published in 1895 or 1897, something like that. There's some old lace. So on this page we have another little Scrappy pocket. This is some beautiful fabric with the golden bees. That is just so pretty. I love that. And there's a card in here with some birds on it. What would a journal be without some birds? And I forgot to show you, I just now went back and tucked it in. I had forgotten to put the cards in. Back in this little Scrappy pocket, we have a card with some birds. That's a blank card, and that is an old, that's 1993, Marjolaine Baston, and I love her work. So 93, that's quite old, like 26 years. So getting on, there's another page from the kit, beautiful flowers for the trim, and I sewed these pages together. This is so funny. I bought this scrapbook paper new, and I had folded it to make a page, and I was going through getting ready to sew the pages in, and I noticed that there was some writing on the other side, and it was just a scribble. It looked like part of a word that then trailed off, and it gave me the impression that someone in the store had used it to test a pen. It was just really bizarre, so I went ahead and took this pretty paper to sew to the back of that, and I'm kind of glad it happened. I like it better that way with those two pages together. And then there's more of that pretty scrapbook paper. Here is a little place to hide an entry underneath. A little piece of fabric there. Just more space for you to work. And more space for you to work. There's another old card. Now please note, this is a rusty old paper clip, and I love things like this. So it's already left a couple of marks here. I bet if you put some water on that, you would get some marks. Now, I'm not saying to do that. Some people don't like rusty old paper clips. More pages from the kit. So the way I did this, I have a lot of old images, calendar and book images, gardening books from the turn of the century, the 1900s, old postcards, a lot of old postcards. So I love to take images and get rid of the background and turn them into PNGs to work with in a digital way. So all of these things are just layered to make pretty pages. So you could write in here. I think they're really pretty. And that background is really muted so that you can write on top of that. More from the kit. More of that pretty handmade paper. And more space for you to work. There's a very faded apple there. That's from a garden or a seed catalog again. That is from the kit. And here is a playing card. I love this. You have the Joker, and that is Clark's spool cotton there. That pretty card. More of the mushroom. I love that you can see it on the other side. And that's just a pretty piece of fabric. That's from a vintage table scarf. And more from the kit with the strings or tails or tags, whatever you want to call them. You have a string or a pick on your clothes, especially a string hanging off. I've heard that called an Irish pendant. Have you ever heard that term, that terminology? And then in the very back, there's another bird card. And I'm not sure the year on that. Made in the USA, Marion Heath. So that's just a pretty little blank card. And then this. This is so fun. So I just sewed a little Scrappy envelope, and this is another charm that came from the broken jewelry at work. It says Guardian Angel on the back, and I don't know if this was just one of those things that gets sent out in promotional mail, like religious things, or if it's was meant to be a charm. I really don't know, but I just put that in there. So this little book has a guardian angel in it. And that is just safety pinned onto the fabric. And then on the very back, you have a much larger pocket and my Birdsong stamp and another little flower. So this journal, I guess, is called Scrappy. I love it. This is going to be perfect to do some artwork in. I cannot believe that we have finished up almost. I'm almost done with the next to last spread, and I will be putting that up soon as a video. And it's been so much fun. It's been so much fun. I really appreciate everybody who joined in, and I've just learned so much. I think we've all had fun with it. Anyway, that's the journal, and that's in the shop right now. There's a link below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye.